Good morning, friends and supporters. My name is Angela Tompkins. I am the vice chair of the board for the Michigan Roundtable of Diversity and Inclusion, and I am thrilled to be here with you all today for this wonderful announcement. I have been doing work with the Roundtable for probably longer than I can count. I think it extends probably 20 plus years. I have been supporting the Roundtable in various ways. I was originally attracted to the work through the criminal justice reform work, social justice work. I am a lawyer by trade, and I was just really inspired by the work that the Roundtable was doing for sentencing reform. And it has just stuck with me. I've been here and have not left. It is certainly an honor and a pleasure to not only be on the board, but on a leadership position of the board as we continue the work that we started many years ago to help transform communities, to build bridges in communities, to be a voice for those who sometimes are marginalized and underrepresented, bringing differences together, bringing community together. I am so thrilled to be here today as needs change, times change, communities change. We are evolving to ensure that we are meeting the ever changing needs of the communities that we are in. This important work requires us now to shift, to think about things differently, not only for today, but that we can continue to position ourselves to be a leader and to be transformational and to continue to do this healing work. And so it is my pleasure to introduce our new executive directors of the Michigan Roundtable, Steve and Yusef.
After the ban on affirmative action, which took place in 2005, 2006, it was a wake-up call that there were so many people who were ignorant about racial oppression and other forms of harm, misogyny, ableism, just ignorant. And all of a sudden, affirmative action's banned in Michigan. And so for us, that was a wake-up call to start going deeper or going upstream, as late Archbishop Tutu spoke about, to find the causes of harm to people because of their identities. A couple things that we did that I think are relevant as an outgrowth of the ban on affirmative action was we created an exhibit called We Don't Want Them. And it took a look at the consequence of racial housing segregation on wealth equity among black and brown and white folk. And that exhibit has been seen by some 500,000 people, and we still get calls for it today. Another development out of that post-affirmative action time, when we really started getting even more serious than the work we had done over the years, was to take a look at, again, the wealth gap due to housing segregation, and we formed a truth commission. And that work went about 18 months and became shifted into what's called healing stories. And that has informed our work, in my perspective, of these 27 years, perhaps more than any other event. What we learned was, and what I really started to learn was that the centering the voices of the marginalized, that those who are harmed because of their identity, their voices need to not only be heard, but need to drive agenda for action. I remember we had a conversation when he was first hired. I said, we got to create safe places for folk like me to, hear things. And he looks at me and goes, that's good. I'm interested in brave places. So we started to get into a complementary relationship. He has done, in his time with the Roundtable, he has helped us form new partnerships, help us achieve outcomes that we hadn't achieved before. He introduced us to funding sources, and he's helped us grow. So, Yusef, I am honored to introduce you and be your partner. Welcome.
Good morning. What up, though? I turned 51 this month. In my 51 years on this earth, I've learned that chances and opportunities come at different points of your life. And many of you all know that I went to prison. I served 9 years in prison. I've been home 23 years. Let me also make this distinction. I went to prison for a crime I didn't do. And coming home, I've created opportunities. I've created chances where I betted on myself. What I mean, I betted on myself, working from. And when I first came home, the jobs that was offered for formerly incarcerated men and women were temp jobs. It was temporary jobs. And if you lied on your application that you said that you didn't, was convicted of a felony, and they found out, they immediately fired you. And if you know anything about that process, even when they fired you, they still got paid. They still got paid because there's a bond system that they have that protects them if anything happens. Most of us who worked there didn't have that knowledge. You know, we was coming from a very vulnerable population. Many of us didn't want to go back to prison. Many of us trying to find opportunities to take care of our families and just come back to an unforgiving society. 20 years ago, I got a job at Head Start in Highland Park, where I was hired as assistant teacher. It was my first official job. And it blew me away because, one, I didn't think they would hire me because of my past. And the human resource person said, I don't see the young man that went to prison for a crime he didn't do. I see a person that's committed, that's dedicated. And all those things of attributes I only can give to one person, that's my mother, who've always made that dollar out of 15 cents, who's always counting out, but figured ways to create opportunities to make things better. And that's what I've done. I know where I come from. I come from a community that has suffered all my life. We are not our suffering. We are human beings. We are more than our suffering. And all of us are wanting a chance and opportunity. And this is what this is about. And to recognize that I came in a workplace that was already going through some changes for me to be in the position that I'm in, but challenging, looking at ourselves internally as an organization and saying that we need to do this, we need to do that. Dad, Stacy, Cheryl, Izzy comes on. Again, internally looking at ourselves and having those tough conversations to create a brave space. Trying to create a just and beloved community requires us to create a just and beloved organization that supports that work. So I'm honored and pleased to be recognized and work with Steve as the co-executive director of the Michigan Roundtable. Thank you guys for being here.
Again, my name is Leon Tupper. I'm a former board member of the Michigan Roundtable, and I'm heartened by what I've just heard. Yusef's particularly interested in having you articulate a vision for this organization over the next 3 to 5 year horizon.
I mean, that vision requires us to continue to look at ourselves, and we have some new announcements that will be coming out in the next coming months. And that vision is to continue to be committed, dedicated to, we believe in transformation, and we believe the work that requires the change that we want to see in the city and the state to create a beloved city where justice, where just is part of our religion. It is who we are. I think everybody wants to live in a just community, a just neighborhood. But we have to be honest with ourselves. Not everybody lives in just communities and just neighborhoods. And to look at why we don't. And so our vision is to dig deeper and to address those challenges, to challenge, use our leverage, our power, our prestige, our platform to take our partners, our community members, to bridge that gap. If you work here in the city of Detroit, you pretty much live here. And so to get the people to think on a community level, because at the end of the day, we're asked, because of our position of power, to contribute to what community looks like. And I'll say this firsthand, no one's opposed to community development. People are opposed to community development continue to be imposed upon them. And it's continue to be imposed upon them because they're not being recognized. That humanity is saying, like, because of the privilege of certain individuals, that I have the power to determine what your life should look like. In reality, that's causing harm, that's causing oppression. And our goal is to challenge that, to address that. And I conclude on this. There's a quote that says, "You have no permanent friends, you have no permanent enemies, you only have permanent interests." You have no permanent friends, you have no permanent enemies, you only have permanent interests. And our permanent interest is continue to advocate on behalf of those who are the most marginalized in the state.
Well, thanks, Yusef. And I would add to that
it's really shifting from dealing with social and racial justice as if it were to a problem that could be solved with charity, with corporate social responsibility and philanthropy that is giving money but not meeting the needs of what the local community needs. And so part of our vision will be to really help drive through the framework I mentioned and through a racial social justice approach to really make the best use of how corporations engage the community and become one community.